Hey guys, see you guys coming in a little bit. What's good? Hey Brett, how's it going? I'm doing good. Andrew, how's it going, my guy? Do you guys have a good weekend? I need to silence that. All right. Hey JPR, always see you. I always see your face around. Love the support, appreciate it. We're gonna give people a couple minutes to hop in, and we'll just hop right into it. Prepared for warming up in Michigan. Yeah, it was pretty warm actually this weekend in Boston. So, finally having some nicer weather. I've been outside all weekend. Yeah. Haven't been to Michigan though. But let's go like that. Perfect. All right, and you guys can all see my screen and hear everything. Just want to make sure it's all good. But yeah, as per usual, you a Boston fan, like Boston like sports. In nature, yeah. I mean, I'm living there right now. Yeah. Oh, nice, Marshfield. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm living in Boston right now, so hello, 61. How's it going? All right, we got a good amount of people now. But yeah, if you guys are new here, as usual, I have prepared a list of stocks, my weekly watch list. Isn't all that I'm watching this week, but it's kind of the focus, I guess, that I have prepared. And I have a plan for these. Just to be completely honest, I am not super prepared today, just because I was out all day and I just got back. But we're just going to be doing stuff live here and going through the charts. What I'm seeing entries and kind of a game plan, and after that, we're going to I'll turn to you guys and leave that you want to specifically see from me. Audio is breaking up. Let me go look at it. Maybe I just got to speak up. I'll just speak up a little bit. Maybe the mic's a little off. Is this all right? I hope that's good enough. If anything is breaking, um, I'll try to fix it. But looks like everything on my end is working. I'll just speak up so that the mic picks up my voice a little better. No, the same. Yeah, I don't know. The input is correct, so it should be good. Maybe I don't know, is this for everyone? Because maybe you can leave the stream and come back and see if it's better. It's not good. Interesting. Well, I'm just gonna go over through these levels and we'll see how it goes from here. But yeah, and if anything cuts out, I can just go over it again. But just let me know. But first off, we're looking at AMD just so we can get the ball moving. So AMD here. This is the semi. I've been looking at semis quite a bit the past couple of weeks just because they've been really weak, and I think we can kind of see that from NVIDIA, AMD, um, SMH. All of these guys have been dropping and breaking these important lows. So, AMD, we've been watching even, since back here in the beginning of April. This whole short move could have been caught. This was covered on that week's weekly watch list. You can go back and watch it for proof. But we basically stated that this, $100 level was extremely important, and we can see, why. This is a very, very easy trade, to be honest. And you can kind of see since the March 2020 lows, this trend line has been extremely important for AMD, and we did lose that trend line. However, so it was an easy short under $100 from here. So here, getting kind of closer to recent price action, we did gap up, and this was due to earnings. So they did have a good earnings, and we did come up and nearly test $100 again. Here, what we're looking for. Clearly, there's quite a bit of strength, and if we do, like zoom into this, you're gonna see this is just range bounded. Let's just go to like a 1 hour. You can see here, this price action is range bound. Essentially, you can draw it a few ways. I'm just gonna do it like this, just very, very easily. It's range bound right now. So what we're looking for is either a breakout or a breakdown. I didn't put the put side, but I can put that down here now. We're going to probably use this level. You guys can kind of see me do everything live here. And this would be an ideal puts entry for me. So here we do have this call entry. For me, I still don't like taking this long until we reach $100. I know it's a little far off from where we are now. We have about $5 of movement here to that upside trigger. However, I just think it's safer, in my opinion, to take this on that $100 rate. When we do approach $100, I don't know if you watch level 2 or read the tape, but I would advise looking at that live buy sell action in level 2 if you have that capability, and see what kind of volume and reaction we have at $100. Because this really, not only just psychologically is also a really important level. This is a major, major, major level for AMD. So if we can get a confident breakthrough, you can take a call position. In terms of day trade, swing trade, I would take it as a day trade and possibly trim this, and just hold the small position of runners to possibly swing, because you can see here from these upper trend lines, we do have room to the upside. From this $100, we do have about 10 to 12 points to the upside. So if this doesn't hit on that first day, you could hold a little bit on that swing to play that upside movement. And if anyone has questions throughout this whole session, just please do leave that in the chat, and I will get to it. So yeah, just please leave it in the chat if you do have a question. But that is the upside. For the downside here, this is going to be if the markets dump. And we are going to look at SPX in a bit, so we're going to get that overall longer term picture. However, if specific stocks do dump here, AMD, I do like this under this $92 roughly. You can take 91.6-ish roughly, just this low. Why do I like this? It's just, when you're looking at these levels, you want to look for these wicks essentially. Where are these important levels being shown? And we can see that from these multiple wicks. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different wicks right on this 91 and change level. So this is going to be my downside level. If we do break this, same thing here. We're going to look at that price action, how we get to this level. If we do get a confident, strong breakdown with volume, this is a pretty clean short. And in my opinion, off of that break, we're most likely going to retest this lower region. So, let's just use this wick, for example. So, this provides us with, a good move, like a 7-point move. So, we have 7 points at the downside, 10 to 12 points to the upside. Right now we're just range bound, so there's not a lot of value here. So in my opinion, I would wait for that upper region to hit. Does that make sense for everybody? Just let me know. Yeah. Let me know if that makes sense. If you have questions on that. But yeah. Amazon here. We can move on. So Amazon here, we are looking for, in my opinion, I am looking for upside. It looks like to me that this is getting exhausted. In terms of flow, I did see some put selling. So there wasn't a ton, but there was some put selling coming in. And if you're not familiar with what that is, essentially, put buying, everyone's more relatable with buying options. For selling, it's just the opposite essentially. So put selling would be bullish, and they're looking for a short-term bottom in this area. So what we're looking for here, and we can kind of zoom out, last time we were trading these regions, we were actually consolidating here, almost as like a flag or a pennant. So we do have quite a bit of support in this region, and we did bounce off of this low. So what we're looking for here, we do want this to hold, and I am looking for upside. I can put the downside here. I just didn't put it, but downside, this is a pretty easy one that has been kind of the same story for a couple weeks now. It's just it kept dropping, put entry on the low essentially. So same thing here. And if we do break this, I guess targets we could put would be right around here. And just so you can see where this come from, it's not a random level. It's just that previous gap, and we have 1, 2, 3 touches on this level. So this would be my downside target. So we do have, let's see, about 3% to the downside. And from here, I am using a psychological level for this upside. I'm using 2400. Although, there aren't too many wicks pertaining to this specific level, I'm just going to be using for Amazon, you use 50-point increments. So here we have 2400. We have about 5% upside to the first target. Amazon does like to move, and it's quite volatile. So there's definitely some money to be made on this setup here, whether it's to the upside or downside. And that obviously will depend on how the market moves overall. So next up, Facebook. Personally, I don't like the upside on this. I know that there could be upside, and if the rest of the market moves up, we do have bullish setups. If the rest of the market moves up, this will move up as well. But this is definitely not my favorite to the upside. I like this more to the downside. So this is more of a downside bias play. If we do lose important levels, this will be one of the setups I look for to take a short on. So you can see down here on the oscillator, we are coiling right at this support. So it's either we bounce here or we do another crossover to the downside, and that would kind of look something like this. This kind of right here. This is what happened last time on this crossover. We're going to see something similar here, and we're going to see that roll over. So for me on Facebook, I like to see this under $200, and we can see 192.75, and then we'll see 186. So in terms of risk reward, we're looking at a good 3.6% to the downside to first target, and then 7% to the downside on that second target. So pretty good in my opinion. For me, to the upside, technically you can take it off of 210. I just don't think it's as clean as a play, so I am just going to sit out of that one personally. So that's Facebook. Qs here. not too much to be said here. You know, this candle here on Friday was, very indecisive. We can see it wicks to the upside and downside, and we closed right in the middle. So, very indecisive. We closed near these two candle wick support levels. So right here in this 309, roughly like 309.5-ish, really important level for the Qs. And depending on how we react to this level early into next week, or I should say this week, this is going to dictate, a lot of the setups that I just mentioned. If we are continuously holding below this 309.5, turning this into resistance and, holding below this level, a lot of those downside plays are going to trigger. And, on the other side, if we do, reclaim this level and we're starting to use this as a support again, we can look to the upside for this 317. This is quite a big gap. And it's not like a traditional gap, but I mean in terms of like target, this is a decent move. This is a good 6 point move, or I should say eight. Sorry, 8 point move. I said the bars, but yeah, about 8 points. So decent move on Qs. And obviously if we hold this level, those upside plays are going to trigger. Next up, I have Shopify. We did play Shopify late last week after their earnings. We did, pull out the hourly. We did play this move here. We bought right down here and we sold up here. Pretty solid day trade in my opinion. It did, gap down and had a disgusting day. Honestly, we could have caught this, break below this 396 level, and we could have took that short all the way down, but it's okay. Now here, what we're looking for, this is one that I don't want to rush on, because it's just been beaten down time over time. You can kind of see insane, and this is not even the end of it. This is, yeah, you can kind of see the magnitude of this. This was a $1,600, $1,700 stock last year, so this has really been beaten up. Looking down here, not in a rush to get into an entry. However, I do think fundamentally this is very oversold. We're at this level where we can start considering long-term positions. I haven't really talked about long-term positions too much recently, but this is probably not something I'm going to alert, to be honest, just because I don't think anyone's really going to follow up on a long-term position. That's really truly that long-term, but just something I want to note. However, for this here, I do think that we are due for a bounce. This region here that I have drawn out is one that I had that was, a pretty strong bounce level. So we are in this region. So for me, in terms of call entry, I do want to see this $400 to 401 get reclaimed. And if we can do that, we are looking decent for a move higher. On this 1 hour, you can see we do have a 1 hour gap here, and that's where this level comes from. So this is specifically 401, and 3/4. We do have technically a gap, like a 5 point gap. However, I do think this could go all the way back up to this 425 region. So not a decent look here, or I mean not a bad look. It's a pretty decent look. We can see, first target 3%, then about 5.7%. Downside, I wouldn't be too interested in just because it's really had so much downside. But if there is a downside play here and you want to take it, I will label it. We're going to go like this. We can see we're, kind of basing out here. We're really liking this 376-ish level, 377 level. We've kind of based out here, and it's slowed down a bit. However, if we do break below that, we're going to be testing this lower region again. It's going to be a big flush. So something to definitely watch if you like. Like I said, with those the triple Q chart, if we do break lower, this will be, one of those contenders that follow suit. So, we have a good 3.7, 3.8 percent to the downside potentially. So not a bad play here. But yeah, that is what I like to see on this. Let's see, the A team. I made money on that chop move. You're welcome. Yeah, that's awesome. I love to hear that. 3.1 out for nice $90 contract. It's super solid, right? And eventually, like if you're 10 contracts, it's $900 right there. So definitely not a bad play. But yeah, as you guys could probably tell in my alerts, I swing trade for the most part, but this environment really is not something that you want to swing trade in. Like, look at this. You really want to swing trade in this? um, this just isn't. This isn't something that is appealing to me, in my opinion, right now. And until we see certain confirmations in the market for me that kind of enable me to kind of go back to risk on in swing trading, I'm not going to really alert as many unless it's a confident play. I really don't want to force something. So that's kind of how I'm doing things right now. So day trading has kind of just been my stronger suit, and you can see like I had a very, very good win percentage last week. It was I believe it's like over 90% win rate with like over 10 plays. So really, really good look last week. SPX, this is going to be very similar to Qs. However, I think it's a little stronger in my opinion. You can see here the kind of important level is this 4100 region, and this is kind of, I'll just do SPY. It's the same thing. So you can see this is stronger than Qs. And what I want to note here is this 410 level. This is really the important level to watch. Kind of go back here. 410 is the level to watch. If we can hold, so it's the same thing. If we can hold above 410, we are going to test this upper region and possibly come back up. And that's what this line is. So I haven't updated this, but that's what this is. I do ultimately see lower. I do think we go lower in the market. I don't think we're done yet. I do think 400 gets tested, if not broken. But for now, I don't think that happens yet. I think that we will see some sort of bounce here. And it does have room. This definitely has room. So, we have a good 3 to 4% upside. And we can kind of see that correlating with Qs. From here, Qs definitely have more to bounce. They have, a good 6% to the upside to bounce. That's correlating to this region here. And you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see it, but we do have this sort of megaphone pattern like this. And then same with this one here, just very roughly. So you get the point. When we see this here, when we see this pattern, maybe you haven't seen this pattern before, but this megaphone pattern, what this is it basically just tells you that we're going to see a lot of volatility. Because you can see each time this expands, it expands even more. So, the next expansion, if we do get it, it's going to be very, very volatile. So, eventually this breaks out or breaks down, right? So either break above this trend line or below this one. So depending on what happens here is going to really dictate what we see in the market. Because a break above here, we have another 20 points probably. I know that's kind of crazy to say, but the market, I should say, has just been very volatile. So we do have a good 20 points if we do break upside, and same with the downside here. We do have another 20 points to the downside possibly if this does break down. So right now we are in the lower bound of this region. So in terms of like a risk reward standpoint, you're better off betting to the upside. If you've kind of paid attention here, what this shows, there's been a lot, and you've probably noticed this, there's a lot of fake outs. So, one day the bulls have a super, super strong day. Everyone's bullish. The next day, gap down, huge, huge bearish day. Everyone's bearish again. Then, the reversal and the reversal. Everyone got trapped last week, and a lot of people lost money. A lot of people had a really, really, really bad week last week if they didn't recognize that pattern. So, what I'm saying is early this week, I think it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be very trappy. So, you want to be careful. I would not advise swing trading yet, unless you have very long term contracts, and I'm talking like end of the year minimum. Like 1 to 2 months isn't even enough anymore, in my opinion, for these swings. So at least not yet, I should say. So I would not swing trade yet. And the last setup I have here, this is actually one of my more favorite setups, and it is unfortunately a downside setup. I don't like the upside as much; it's not as clean in my opinion, but the downside setup is pretty clean. So from here, just to zoom out, we do have this kind of wedge pattern here, and we are trading kind of in the middle of that right now. So nothing too crazy. However, for me, on downside moves, I like to look for these 5-part moves. If you're an Elliott wave theory enthusiast, you know what I mean by this. But essentially, just put in simple terms, you're looking for a 1 wave down, 2, 3, 4. We're looking for the 5th wave down now. So after this 5th wave, I'm going to shift my bias to be quite bullish. Like in the terms of minimum touching this trend line again, like retesting. Like I probably might open a swing trade for this one when we get down here. And you can kind of see there's a lot of support in this region down here. And I actually know this level very well because we can see here a lot of support in this region. So in my opinion, we do still have downside room. I'm looking for that 5th wave down. It's been respecting the Fibonacci's and my chart very, very well. I've nailed this. If you guys remember, back here on April 26th, you can look at the alerts channel. This put was insane. I played puts on this. Like you can just go like that. I played puts right here and wrote this down. This is a really good play. So I do expect a quick move down. It's going to be very wicky, like this one, in my opinion. I think it's gonna be a quick move, but we do have room down to 800. So for me, I like to use the whole numbers again. So 850 is my break low point. So below 850, we're looking for 820 and 800. So in terms of a risk reward point, we're looking at 3.5% for the first target and then 6.4 for the second target. And then I'll like it long. The other case here, because obviously, we can't be too biased or clouded in our judgment. There is, a bull case that, this here is the 5th wave already, and it's, it's a short wave. And if that is the case, I don't like this long until here. So we'll turn the screen. We'll leave this in our charts and see what happens this week. Like this, turn it green. This is exactly how I do my charts. So I don't like it long until here. And, from here, we have a lot of upside room. But ideally, this yellow kind of arrow path, this is what I'm looking for. Short first, then long. We could just go long right away. That's a scenario, but I like short first. That would satisfy my condition, and that would be in a very, very important swing low, in my opinion. So, yeah. Any questions on what I've talked about? If not, leave some just below that you personally want to see from me, and we can take a look at a few of them. So leave that in chat right now, and I'm just going to take a water break. All right, let's see. Anybody have anything? NTNX. Right. So for here, this is a longer term chart. So looking out here, there are a lot of wicks. And for me here, this is just a large accumulation zone that we have. I can kind of go like this. I know it's ugly right now. It is. This has been ugly. However, we're just waiting in this consolidation zone for the breakout. And we do have time on our contracts. So I'm really not too worried. It's just taking a little longer for this move to happen. However, go like this. We can see on a weekly chart, this is extremely bullish. Like this is a really good chart, which is why I like taking this. Off of this weekly breakout, you know, we see $30 minimum, like minimum, I'm telling you. 33 to 36 is more of my target region. And you can kind of see in a risk reward standpoint, this would make a little more sense. We entered about up here, which, you know, admittedly we didn't have the best entry. I'll admit that, but you know, up to here, this is a good 1.5. It's like around here on this entry. It's like a 1.5, 1.6. It's a decent swing. So, you know, obviously, if we could take an average down, and that would bring us back to like here, roughly, which is like a median in between for that average. So that would turn this swing into like a 3.8, way better. This is obviously this is for the challenge account, so I'm kind of just chilling right now with it. But we'll see. I hope that kind of clears it up. So, and we do have, I believe, their October expiration, October 17th, I think it is. So, you know, we have a lot of time. We have 5 months. Yeah, I hope that makes sense, Andrew. Next up, Alan with UPST. I think they report earnings soon. I think they report Monday. They do. After hours. I knew it. I did see that they had some dark pool activity, and it was bullish dark pool activity. Or well, you don't know if it's bullish because dark pool doesn't tell you that, but I would think it's dark. I would think it's bullish. However, here, this I personally just wouldn't touch this until earnings is over with. If you want to do a lotto, I would go calls, but that's just me. We did reject here on this oscillator, which isn't great. However, this whole move down, and this is kind of, I guess this is one of the things that we can look at. This, and then versus like something like this. So we can see here, this is just a very quick analysis on this with, this is just looking for divergence essentially. So convergence and divergence. So what we're looking at here is, and we can actually use this one too. So this isn't like the cleanest example, or well, you can use this longer term one. So there's two analyses I'm going to do here. One is going to be with the volume versus price, and the second is going to be the price versus my oscillator, the RSI. So first we'll do the price and volume. So we can see here, price is making lower lows, right? Pretty consistent, and it looks pretty grindy. This isn't like a clean drop like this one here. Is very grindy move down. What we see here is, you know, all of these spikes are bullish volume, like the big spikes, I should say. They're all huge bullish ones, and all of the little ones are red, so bearish, and they're just continuously lower and lower and lower and lower, right? So what this tells me is bears are getting exhausted on this push down, and we're seeing some bullish divergence here. And to confirm this, I'm going to use the second one. So to confirm this here, I'm going to be looking at the same area of price versus what we're looking at over here with the oscillator. So, again, we said prices are making lower lows, right? And here, this oscillator is making higher highs, or I should say higher lows. So what this tells me is from this point here, this low showed a low oscillator read of like 30.3. Over here in this newer low, so this is a lower low. It broke this low. This is the new low. Look at where we are now in the oscillator. We're way up here in 38, 39 region. This is showing me that momentum is not strong to the downside, and how we can confirm that momentum isn't strong is by looking at this volume. We can see if momentum was strong, first of all, we would see way more volume here, way more bearish volume, kind of like this one here. And you can see in this example, this broke down technically, like this broke lower in this like shorter term trend. If we like draw that like here, you can see this was bearish. See this? This is increase in volume, and we broke that lower that shorter term trend, right? But in the longer term picture here, this larger picture, this is exhausting in my opinion. So, earnings is always a gamble, but let's come back to this and see what happens with earnings. I would bet it's upside. Like I would not be surprised to see 120, 130. So we'll see. Next up, snow. So kind of the same picture here. I'm going to give you the same answer. I'm not going to explain it as much just because whoopsies, because I did that already with the other one, but you can kind of see the same picture here. The oscillator is making higher lows while the chart is making lower lows. So definitely exhausting, and momentum to the downside is getting weaker. One thing to note here is that we did have quite a bit of strong bearish volume here, so it's not as clean of a setup as UPSD. You can see it is having a slight volume breakout, but in terms of this oscillator here, it's still showing that bullish divergence. Exxon. I don't like it just because gas is so expensive now. But this is a huge breakout. This is a fractal I had drawn out since here, I think. It's kind of stupid that I didn't do anything with it, but I mean, yay, it was right. For now, I do think we are going to hang out in this upper region for another quarter or two, in my opinion. I don't think we're going to get anywhere really. It's going to be range bound. But I do think we do head lower in the longer term picture. But this is technically a big breakout. You can see here. We are breaking out of this region. This here, a lot of these don't apply anymore. Yeah, this is the main one. This was the main breakout essentially from $73. But if we do break out here, just look for this $93 to $96 region. That would be a good sell point. And you can kind of see here, this is where bearish divergence kicks in. Like this. We're making lower highs here on this oscillator while we're making higher highs here. So what this shows me is the upside is getting exhausted, and we're seeing bearish divergence. I hope that makes sense. Coin. I assume this is going to be very similar to the other ones. Yeah, I wouldn't even touch this. I wouldn't even touch this. But it's the same picture. Yeah. You gave me all of the same tickers, essentially. You gave me all of these tickers that are like dying. So, same picture here. Making lower lows on the chart, making higher lows on the oscillator. So, this doesn't mean like, go all in calls, but the downside getting exhausted. CLX. I don't think I've ever looked at this one. Clorox. It's a mean gap. Gotta admit that. What other levels do we have here? I need some more information. Okay, let's mark out the levels. This is the big one. Go like that. And then we have one up here. So these are going to be the ones to watch. In my opinion, I would wait for those levels to break, and you can take a higher move off of that. Otherwise, I wouldn't really touch it. But we do have a big inverse head and shoulders here, so that is definitely something to watch. In terms of like inverse head and shoulders, like trend line, it's not like the cleanest one because of this, but you can use that. Yeah. Did you say you like the Tesla setup the most? In terms of like how clean it is, yeah. But if the markets don't push lower, I wouldn't, I won't take this. It's all dependent on the market. But with everything lined up, with the market pushing lower, Qs and SPY pushing lower, the rest of the indices and overall market pushing lower, Tesla pushing lower, I like this one the best. So so yes and no, right? You have to be careful with your biases. Not a ticker, but I was curious how you would identify supply and demand zones when day trading and on what minute chart you would look at. So supply and demand zones, I typically don't identify them intraday. Because what you can kind of think of supply and demand zones as is just areas of support and resistance. So for me, I think it's more beneficial to look at these on a daily, weekly chart. And although those don't necessarily apply to day trading, you can use them still as they approach those levels. So, say for like Tesla example, and to identify these, go on a daily or weekly chart and look for the wicks. You just want to draw from wick to wick where it captures the most amount of wicks. That's kind of the way to do it. The more wicks you include, the better in that zone. But obviously, you don't want to get too carried away. You want to make sure the zone is relatable and in a specific region that applies to the chart. But in terms of like intraday, I would just more use support resistance, and 15-minute or 5-minute is good. I use both. So didn't get on NTNX. Should I now? That's totally up to you, man. Can't tell you that one. It's up to you. I showed you the chart. If you like it, then you can make that decision. Otherwise, just don't take it. Yep. Any other questions? Otherwise, I can see, but we can but maybe like, comment, subscribe to this channel. I do all these educational videos and all the streams on the channel, and I do all the socials and Discord links in the bio conveniently for you. That's where I trade. But otherwise, have a good rest of your day and night, and I will see you on the Discord. And yeah, hope for a good week. But yeah, just a reminder, like, comment, subscribe. That does really help me, and I appreciate all the support. Otherwise, have a good rest of your night. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody.